Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Good morning, P. How's your week?
Oh, really good. Just a little light on the holidays, but had a couple big ones Friday with Microsoft did the kind of dip and rip, and market was really strong on that short day. So a lot of tech showed up, and just still on snow and a couple other SaaS names. Crypto was good. Some pop and fade there as it thinks about 100K. Tough sector to chase, so you gotta be careful with that. But yeah, overall really good. Um, just looking forward to the close of the year.
Yeah, pretty decent week over here. Have a continuation from the the bigger plays, the SoFis, the Squares. All that held up really well, and Piton continuation, Stitch Fix, some shitty pennies we've been on for years. Um, yeah, just overall good. Not a lot of entry for me last week, but overall the stuff we've been in that we're giving time, still doing well. So gonna stick with that for a while. I mean, I think most of the stuff that we found, we found the bottom again. So um, managing those, taking more of my time than finding new plays currently. That's just where I am. And it's the holidays, so you lose a little there, right? And yeah, it's
Yeah,
just kind of putting along. I'm gonna have a good year, so don't really want to mess that up. That's just like we talk about it for Fridays in general. Like don't give everything back on a Friday. Well, don't give everything back in December either. So yeah, good stuff overall. Like where the portfolio's at, and maybe not overextended, but pretty good, pretty diversified right now. I mean, I got aluminum and the shitty tech and apps and crypto and gold and silver and some large caps. I mean, yeah, it's a good time this year.
yeah, for sure. And I think one thing, as you look at sectors, there's a lot that could really catch a bid early next year in energy, and natural gas in particular has been pretty strong. So I've kind of focused on building slowly in those sectors, and it's not, those aren't really setups that, oh, I'm going to make money today. I'm going to make money today on Oxy. In fact, I really like when people get kind of giddy about Oxy having a 1% day or something like that. I don't think, I'm not that interested in trading Oxy from $50.50 to $52 to $50.50 to 52 to
Sure.
49 to 52. Like I'm just building in this zone, and I think that is a better way to trade that. I trade stuff every day that's more precise in terms of option entries and all that stuff. But kind of know what you're in. I mean, those, you're playing for something more significant uh, within energy, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and a safer chart. Like you're talking 50 cent range, maybe 10% tops, and
Yeah,
on most charts you're closer to maybe 30. Um, and anything that's kind of I guess, a growth related stock, where oil, I guess, isn't really that. It's more of a commodity, and then you kind of need some of that stuff that you don't have to panic over, in my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah, I just like the projection of the company, and I'm more of a lot of people like to invest in like the things that are going on right now, and I do that in tech. Um, but you kind of want the person that's going to come up with the next idea and take the big chunk of market share. They have maybe 10% and they're going to take another 15%, because I mean that's where the innovation change and the real rotation comes from companies, and in history. I mean, you look at anything, And the stuff that was big in the '80s, they might be around, but Ford isn't the big stock in automotive anymore. It's probably Tesla. I mean, that's
Yeah.
no one talks about GM. No one talks about Ford. Um, and you could IBM was the tech stock in the '80s. I mean, that was the blue chip. It wasn't Apple was around, but they were some struggling side company, and it took them 20 years after that to come around. Um, and same with Microsoft. They were kind of not necessarily a startup, but they were the second fiddle. And
Oh,
and and
yeah, yeah. I mean, Microsoft had, after
you
the
seen
dot-com thing, pretty much like a lost decade, and IBM, same thing, where they just were pretty well down and in a, kind of just in a range for years and years, and then they took off, and people get this perception that what these stocks are doing now is normal. Um, Historically, that isn't always the case. So I think with the next hot things, AI and all that stuff, you can have very successful companies, but the stocks can stagnate for a long time once they find a kind of upper range. And
oh,
um,
sure.
so,
Well, I mean, like, but and even with like airlines, you're trading Pan Am and stuff back in the day, and
yeah, yeah,
now Alaska. I mean, their IPO I think was 2000. So just kind of finding that company that's going to take the market share that, and I guess every sector is different. Like tech, you're looking for somebody that has to have a product that everyone uses and they have to have, right? Like
yeah,
that's what you want in the tech industry. It's pretty clear on that side. And then like in oil, I've been learning a little bit about that. But how do you still oil market share, right? Well, that's a little different. That's a little slower moving train because you don't just come out with a better oil or even a cheaper oil necessarily because you have to transport it um, to steal market share. So how do you steal market share in oil? And it's a little different process, um, or a little different dynamic, and you should be thinking about that no matter the sector and or what do you want to call it, commodity and or product. That's I mean
yeah,
that's why
absolutely.
Tesla's so great, right? Because I mean they are literally putting dents in market shares. I mean, they really have taken the the. Have you seen many geostorms and those little cruises? And what's another good one? Even the Yaris, but
Yeah,
all the little commuter cars are gone for some reason. All the 20,
right.
$30,000 commuter cars are gone, and that's the market share that those guys lost to Tesla.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I think another angle for the market that's always important to me, like I track the Dow Jones stocks a lot, and if you look at the history of, I mean, it's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and a lot of
Yeah,
that has changed over time, and it's not all just industrial in the sense that you would normally think about. I mean, they put Nvidia in there, for example, but still, for me, over time, stocks like John Deere and Cat and Johnson and Johnson, there's still a place for those, and they have a lot of nice, steady growth over time. They also have really good range. I mean, John Deere, I was practically begging people to buy that under 380 for a long time, and then I was like, okay, 402, and now it's 465. Um, could easily fall back down to those pivots or whatever. But I mean, there are stocks like that I think can hold for 10 years, and I do
oh, ton of
try
them,
to pay attention to those,
ton of them.
and I think it's having a piece of your attention on those, instead of just thinking what is the next $9 stock I can turn into $100 stock. Um, those, to me, the best ones there are not the ones that have never been up there, but it's like Hood, the IPOs that got crushed, built their identity, got more, lean, or whatever you want to say it, and can trace back up. That's why I'm so interested in SaaS. That's why I'm so interested in stocks like Snow. I think Snow could be a 280, 350 stock again. Absolutely. But while it's trying to do that, I think you do kind of move in and out, and they hit our pivots and all that stuff. But yeah, just trying to find you buy something like like Rigetti and INQ, and we've done really well on those. But I don't think you watch INQ go from where we had it to now and think, well, quantum computing, you know, this is going to be a $200 stock or it's going to be a $300 stock, and just thinking you're gonna do that. I saw a lot of people get destroyed trying to find the next Tesla with that very mindset. The $5 EV stock that is going to be 1,000 someday, and I think that's something that happens in sectors too. And as we enter a new year and everything, I'd be careful about that. I mean, small caps kind of are what they are for for a reason. I kind of think of it in terms like I have a friend who works for a lot of startups and like in tech, and the way those venture capitalists fund these things, like, they'll just kind of throw money at 10 of them and hope one or two will make it, and that'll make all the money back that they put into the 10 of them. And you just got to be careful with the hotshot small caps in a sector that thinking that you're going to turn it into something great. Don't overextend yourself. I'll close my rant with this. Like, when I see someone post that they got wrecked on something that or we know, and we try to emphasize, that has a lot of risk that can just kill you overnight with an offering or bad biotech news, or whatever. If that happens and it bothers you psychologically, you probably were oversized in that, and you just got to be really, really careful with those.
Yeah, I live in the small, so I know about being burned and waking up in a bad situation. That's
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's part of it. One thing that kept coming to mind in the first part was, yeah, if people that when you start getting a decent amount of money, you shouldn't be upsizing your trading. You should be investing in those kind of boringer names, in the
yeah,
industrials and stuff like that. Um, but on the flip side of the pennies, I mean, that's why I'll say it to everybody, and said it a million times, but that's why my account sizing really doesn't change, because it's kind of based on emotion. Like, it's all set up so I don't really get overextended or over emotional in a trade. And um, with any penny, I think the plan after, I mean, the chart matters, but after triple digit percents, whether it's 100 or 300 or what's INOQ at now, 500,
yeah,
whatever, after hundreds of percents, you have to. I'm a firm believer you take at least half off the table and pick pretty good spots where you don't give it all the way back. You can stay in those trades, but yeah, you don't average up, add in, or redo a thesis. Like, we're not talking about INOQ's next move from a business standpoint right now. Matter of fact, if you search the damn group, me and Professor, don't even mention INOQ anymore. We really don't.
yeah,
Because the trade's gone, and you are susceptible to getting punished up here. Even though it could do what Root did, right? And that's another great example. Even Lemonade, that's another great example. And those are all just this quarter. Well, maybe not Root, but so you have to have a plan for protection in general. So I mean, I think that'll just help people. I'm interested in what made that rant come out of you, P. I think I know what it is after you said bio, but
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, you wake up and like Sava did what
yeah,
it did, and
yeah,
losing money on that, like, and I 100% like that has happened to me in that sector. um but I think once it happens to you in that sector, you then say, okay, I'm going to trade this a little differently now. Or if INQ drops 50% tomorrow, I'm gonna, lose some money on that position, but I'm still gonna be way the hell up on that position because
Sure,
I'm well under $10 on,
sure.
on that average. And so yeah, I'll hang around.
I mean, that's the bigger problem then is starting trades late on
Yeah, yeah.
theses that are over. I mean,
Right, and well, and I mean, Sava was late too. I mean, well, I don't know like when people are adding it, but I mean, the point is, if you added Sava over $25, let's say, that's pretty late in the game.
sure.
Even though we were reading flow on it, we were looking at it, this 2750 area, like, yeah, 30C pops and stuff like that. But for me, like, to have been interested in Sava at that point, I got to see like 55C or 70C because I was seeing 30C when it was under $20. You know what I mean? So
Well, you just can't predict the news. I mean, I don't care what you see. You can't predict the news.
no, no, and
I
and
mean,
that's
that's you
and that,
have to understand. That's also why it goes from 25 to 40 in 3 days. Is because it's pretty heavily shorted, and it's a bio that could go either way on news. I mean,
and it's a binary
if that
event.
news came the
Hey,
other way, you're going to like 80
yeah, yeah,
in
we
two
cured
days.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, you're
So
going
yeah, I
like
mean,
80 and instantly. So I mean that you have to know that's what you're playing. You just do.
yeah,
So you're not putting. I mean, if you can't lose, it was $25. If you can't lose 2,500 and you can only lose 250, then you have to get that sizing right. I mean that's
yeah.
just on you. And then again know what you're playing and I mean what we play. I mean we played that one forever, but we've played maybe 3 or 4 bios a year because of that. I mean, are we? You go search collabs right now. There's never a bio sector from you ever, and it's for that reason. So like, I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
like
they're one offs. Like, it's blue, it's icy, it's, yeah. I mean, there's
Gurn,
moments where they're front loaded,
Gurn.
and you get the sizing. Talk about China sizing, bio sizing. It's kind of the same thing, maybe smaller than China, honestly.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I was, I've been there before. I mean, we've been there before. Same size.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I just think John Deere's not dropping 80% tomorrow. I'll just
Well,
put it that way.
sure. A lot of things
Like,
aren't outside of news.
so yeah, I mean, so I guess, like, if you're over, if you're just your allocation and stuff like that, you know, it's easy to overdo it.
Well, I
And so
think the better thing to say, P, is don't try to hit home runs on the hard pitch. I mean, that's
yeah,
really what it
right.
is. That's really what it is. I mean, yeah, knuckleball is a lot slower. Throw me the pitch at 50 miles per hour, but it's not. I'd rather have the changeup. I mean,
Yeah,
I know it's a
yeah,
little faster. It's 75, 80, but still,
right,
um,
right.
at that 50, you're not touching. And then you have
And
to. It's just I think it all comes back to the G word, which is greed, and it's there in that setup, but it's also you got to understand you're going to strike out sometimes.
even within, so like within crypto, this happens too. Like, you take, like, what's all, like, my crypto basket, right?
Sure.
And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
people think Bitcoin is too slow. They still think Bitcoin is too slow. It was $60,000 a month ago, and it's 98. But that's still, in the crypto world.
It can't go fast enough.
That's not that's not the 10,000x meme coin or something like that.
It can't go
Um,
fast enough.
so so they'll overextend in that riskier stuff, and it's like, miners are the same way. And I mean, people really got burned looking for this MSTR rotation, and I think MSTR, the deal was, it's so expensive that people didn't really want to get into it, especially before it split. But now it's like, okay, the miner rotation, and then they just pile into one or two, and it becomes kind of like a cult thing, like the memes, with just no understanding of how those stocks work. There's a reason that Mara is not $70 right now, with Bitcoin pushing 100K. They've diluted so much, and there's just, the float's big and bag holders above, and all that kind of stuff that we I think kind of understand. So I just I want people to just hit the easy pitches, like you're saying. And when I see people, losing money and stuff we haven't talked about in a long time, or asking about entering things that are up that 300-400%, why are you asking me about that right now? Instead of using the work that's here. I mean, people can trade whatever they want, but you're here, you're in the room, you're engaging. Why are you on those things and not what we're talking about? And there can be a good reason. Like if someone's finding something that works in a stock, we talked about 6 months ago that we haven't been paying attention to, I think that that's perfectly fine. But I don't like to answer questions with a question, but that is the question that comes to mind when people ask about some of these stocks. It's like, why this one now instead of 2 months ago? Because if you get on the stuff we're on now, those are going to be the ones that 2 months from now, you'll be deciding how much you want to keep. So uh, that's part of use the work, I guess. So just want to encourage people there.
I mean, there's a way. I mean, there's a way you can do that too, and that comes back to identifying setups for your style. And I think that's it's not you can't square peg round hole it. And our boy Pele is probably the best example. I mean, he's very limited on tickers. I don't know how he does it. Like
Yeah.
he must be super picky or something, or just be diligent with the amount of things he follows. And I mean, he just picked up Piton, but it was pretty much just you for a good 6 months. And
Yeah.
it's find a chart with range and master it. I mean, jack of all trades or master of nothing, right? Is that what they say, or something like that? Where if you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really can't master anything if you don't put the time into it. And I'm not saying sit on one ticker, but I'm just saying understand how you want to trade and find the ticker, because there is something that's going to be easy for your style. What up, EV And it'll also be profitable. So I mean, you find a happy medium there, and um, it's probably not going to be something you like. I mean, I'm sure he didn't start trading thinking he was going to trade uranium, and I didn't start thinking I was going to trade some shitty charger or or some lithium, right? Or
Yeah.
some real estate company or pedal bikes. But here we are. I mean, you just have to understand that's where you start. It's not the ticker, it's your style. And if you start there, you'll save yourself a lot of trouble, in my opinion. And that crypto's the best place to figure that out. I mean, I could give like a litmus test with crypto P, like what chart looks good to you right now, because
Yeah.
I mean, I rotate so much through that section because of my style is buying on support, right? So like it's real hard to get bagged. That's my number one concern. I don't want to be down to, more than 10% ever. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me. So knowing what's a support level or where accumulation supply and demand is going to happen, that's most important to me. So what I trade isn't what I want to trade. It's not, oh, everyone's talking about Mara on Twitter, or oh, CLSK got some news and bought some coins, or I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
even look at the news over there. I really don't, because I'm just going to buy on support. And then the price of Bitcoin. That's it. I mean, that's it. And then for me, I mean, I'd have said it since our existence. I mean, I don't believe in the stuff. It's pet rock to me. So I'm
Yeah.
not I'm
Yeah.
not gonna I'm not gonna want to keep it. I'm just happy to fill my cup and move on. And when that setup's there, um, yeah, I just trade the chart that's ready, not the chart that I traded last time or the chart that I like. It's one of the ones that have. I mean, because they all have a level on them. So Mara was 17. Like we disagreed. Was it Hut we disagreed on? Because I was still at 950. I just didn't have a post split besides 950, and I think it was 12. Well, now it's 28, but it just didn't fit my support when that came
Yeah.
in. I mean, and that happens all the time. That's part of trading, but it's about protecting your neck and understanding your style and setup more than trying to chase something.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think for me, we have a different outlook on crypto. I think
Sure,
like
sure.
I do believe in it to some extent, enough to back when I said what if Sailor's right, I started just buying some Bitcoin every week. And that did really well. And then with MSTR too, um, I've been on that chart a long time, and it kept just building new support. I think it gave sort of one more shot for people at like one. I think like I said, like under 130, I stopped hedging and just go long, and obviously took off from there, and I still traded. I don't know that there's anything you can call support on that chart up here.
What,
It'd take a
MSTR?
long. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I mean,
it was a while ago. Well, you're
yeah.
getting to
So,
some resistance levels on post split.
yeah, yeah.
Different
Well, that's
conversation.
where, like, I
Yeah,
have these, and I don't
yeah.
know why it works, but I have these old pivots from before it split that it it consolidates around intraday. And I don't know. I'm very careful about it because I don't want it to be like confirmation bias or something, but it's like the reprogrammed algos are just hitting the same spots it did the first time. So I don't know what the mechanism is for that, but
Math.
yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's just, yeah, just trying. I mean, the
Sorry,
easiest way to
English
do it,
professor, but it's math.
you just you take it by a factor of 10, and it's the same
Exactly.
spots.
Yep.
That's what they're doing.
Yes.
But
I have a purple line on that chart. It's post split, so I don't know what it was before. I could probably search. But obviously that purple lines are for you. It's 466.88, and I mean
yeah, yeah,
it's where we were kind of rejected. But yeah, no, yeah, no support on that chart. And um, for me, it's not that I don't believe. Okay, so this I know I call it pet rock. That's a good
yeah,
rotation to crypto, but I believe in blockchain, 100%. I
right,
just don't believe the coins that are out now. Like I said earlier about the companies in the 80s, that's the coins that are out now. I just think if it does, or when it does, if you want to go that way, when it does become the normal or whatever, more than the go between, because I think that's what coins are now. They're kind of a go between. You still pay cash for coins. Coins go here, then you get
yeah,
cash or products back. So they're just a medium. Um, when it's like how you get your paycheck and everything, I think it'll be a different coin at that. It'll be the United States Gold Eagle coin, and I've said that before too.
oh yeah, yeah. I do too.
It won't be Bitcoin. So this is just like the trial and error stuff. That's all gonna go to zero when the government steps in. When governments step in, um, I don't know how that's gonna affect the best stuff for Bitcoin going on right now. Argentina, like that's great. But that's probably what 25, 30 years. That'll be towards the end of my lifetime when we
Yeah,
start like totally getting there. So in the meantime, trade the charts for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
Um, I had something for you just to kind of get into some boring stuff.
yeah,
I did have one note I got here. So I was thinking this weekend, fucking this guy won't shut up about solar. Like he won't shut the fuck up. And so someone knows, not you, but someone knows something. You won't shut the
yeah,
fuck up, but somebody else knows something, because that's what
right.
you're seeing, that you're seeing the smoke signals from that. um, I think, and I don't know much about it, but I definitely want to plant it in your head, and I definitely want to get the word out there for other sectors. But the tariffs, I'm just gonna go out
Yeah,
on a limb and assume that even the companies that are American companies don't produce solar panels in America. I'm just gonna go out on a limb. Just go out on a
right.
limb that they're made in another country. So if a tariff hits that industry, and somebody doesn't get the tariff because they get supplied from one place and another one does because they get supplied from the other place, that's going to just be the winner. Um, just in general, that thesis of tariffs kind of choking out competition because of that's where you source products from. No matter where it could be. I mean, we'll see that with Ford having a problem because they moved a lot of their manufacturing to Mexico if there actually is a tariff going through to Mexico. The same with all of the EU countries. Um, yeah, yeah. So I just kind of, solar really made me think of it because of the Elon connection. I think we are going to get a
Yeah,
push in that clean energy, but if we get tariffs, that's going to put a hurdle on a lot of things. So the source of these companies, I think, is important.
Right. No, I agree, and I think so the tariff narrative is going to be great for your oversold drops
Temporary
after
FUD.
hours and free
Temporary
market.
FUD.
Yeah, yeah. I always wonder about this. Like I think of like an example that comes up for me was Obama promised to close Gitmo, and I you know I you can believe politicians or whatever, but I think it's plausible he genuinely believed he could do that. And then he gets in office, and they're like, "No, we're not doing that." And so I think like the tariffs to some extent is a rhetorical device, um, but I think there are going to be people close to Trump that kind of stop them from happening, or you know, weaken whatever he's planning to do with that. They're not going to want to do anything that's overly disruptive as far as tariffs go. But as a negotiation thing, I think definitely it has
Yeah, we're
a
just
lot
going
of
to get
force there.
the similar pullback in the affected, what I'm saying, to a greater extent, like you are
Yeah,
currently in fast food and restaurants because of that fear of make America healthy again. Yeah, it's
yeah,
temporary FUD for sure. Maybe a quarter or two as I mean, they're not going to negotiate in 15 minutes usually.
right, right.
It's going to be a couple months, but um, yeah, I really think that those ones are gonna they're gonna get overly hit because and there'll be some winners that aren't affected that will not necessarily become the blue chips, but will definitely stand out just because of how they're if he says buy American Solar tomorrow, what company set up for that? And I just think they think that's something we, the proverbial
Yeah,
everybody, should be
they
should
should change
know
their name to
should know.
America First Solar.
Exactly, exactly, exact. No, yes, yes. No, you're 100%, 100%. And I think solar just came up because I'm trying to find the why behind solar currently. Um,
Yeah,
but that's going to be in every sector, and we're currently seeing it in the food sector, and that's not even a tariff related. That's just the talk related. Um, I think the tariff is a multiplier to that. Again, on that.
yeah, I like that. I like that idea definitely.
Um, Oil too. That should go in our favor. I mean,
Um,
he's gonna
yeah,
push.
and
He's gonna.
oil. The one kind of the wild card about energy, to me is the green energy angle for oil companies and carbon capture, all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like Oxy and Exxon are big there. So I think when you're looking for the big winners in energy, I mean to me it's offshore drilling, firing back up. It's pipelines, just because you're going to spend on pipeline infrastructure regardless of what the oil price is doing, and so those stocks are going to benefit. And then lastly, it's that carbon capture angle. That's probably a few years out, but I started talking quantum computing, and now it's everywhere. So I'm always looking for the next story, and that's one of them, kind of percolating a bit.
Perfect. Getting some boring stuff.
Yep. All right. So one commodity I really like a lot right now is copper, just because really not wanting to break down at $4, and I think that's a good sign. And furthermore, the stocks that's related to copper, the copper stocks and also aluminum stocks, they've held up pretty well. And I got like FCX. It's kind of in the upper middle of one of my zones. It's under 4650.
Mine's on
So
100 psych. I just know that.
you're the
Southern.
SCCO,
Yep,
or
that's the one. I
yeah,
like that one.
yeah,
I like that one.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, they're in like a really good spot to me, and you could see some decent rotation there. Um, Natural gas, we are talking about it at $2 not that long ago. It's 3.36. So still looking for that kind of sustained move up. Definitely could happen from here. So I'm, really interested in that one.
We
A lot of
need
geopolitical
we need like
complications with it.
we need like 384 bucks to really, and then that thing could get cooking
Yeah,
from a
yeah,
TA standpoint.
yeah. I'm there's like a $5 to $7 channel to me that flow seems to indicate we'll get there. But I think you just leave yourself a lot of time with those. And silver still very healthy. There's a
It's above 26.
there's a potential shortage of silver that really isn't reflected in a lot of charts yet. So I mean, it's kind of a if I'm looking for a reason why February March flow is so good on silver, I think that story starting to make the rounds will make that happen. So I mean, silver obviously is big in manufacturing for technology. There's also a lot of kind of shenanigans in silver with, I mean, there's so much paper silver traded. Um, the idea of there being enough physical silver to cover those trades is
Probably,
always something that's out there to a greater extent than you see in gold.
probably
Um,
not.
so yeah, right, exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's where like if short, I always hesitate to call it like a squeeze in silver, but when shorts start to cover, um, that's where you could get that 36 to 42 pop that I think could happen next year too. So yeah, I like that one a lot.
It's not, yeah, it's above 26.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to say it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's very, very, very healthy. Sweet. I was gonna talk about that. We got some Fed talk this week, and some job reports Tuesday. Other than that, pretty light week over there. I've been trying to bring this up um, during this session, but yeah, lots of Feds talk next week. So be mindful of that, and then some beginning of the month numbers. Um, just hop into SPY. Short week.
Yeah.
Might as well. I was, we were, I guess, really close. We were like a couple bucks. I was a penny below 600. You were about a dollar, and then 88, 89 on the downside. So SPY was pretty much $3, $4 above our top and bottom. So a little bit more upward lift. Friday kind of took it out of our zone, or we would have had it nailed to the penny on the top. Just less tight. We'd had tightness on the bottom. Um, so I don't put too much into it. I mean, I don't put too much into it, but I'm interested in why we ran on Friday because it was
Yeah.
low. What I seen was pretty low volume for the most part overall. So I'm expecting. I mean, I'm not expecting that to continue Monday morning. Just say that. I don't know what
Yeah.
the story is on your end. I assume your end it's quiet. They took last week off for the most part.
They did. Yeah, a lot of like the move up was kind of Apple driven, and then Nvidia had a lot of room to retrace a bit. So you did see, chips had a pretty good day. But I just noticed anytime Nvidia is under 140, it pops back up pretty quick. So
Oh,
that
that line's
that drives
working.
the indices
That line's
pretty hard.
working. That line's working,
Yeah,
P. It's flipping from resistance to support.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So I don't make much of it either. In fact, like I said, Apple, I think Wednesday, it popped right at the end of the day, and I was like, this is something that usually happens when we're probably gonna have a bad day tomorrow, and then you know the big pullback. That was Tuesday, and then Wednesday the drop, and then Friday, markets closed. Then Friday, we recover. So yeah, there's a lot of that. And nothing really breaking out. I'd still be really cautious in a lot of tech about the kind of the pop and fade that can happen. So I only kind of look for things that are out of an expected range. So Microsoft gets antitrust news. I'm like, okay, this is probably going to find some equilibrium. and it ended up flat on the day, but that opportunity was there, that pre-market drop. So I think in tech you still kind of look for that because there's still a lot of indecision in there. And back to SPY, that indecision is reflected to me in option flow. I've got 1220 610C is a 50-50 contract, so there's no real advantage there. And then the March puts, hard to say really with that. I mean, you got 540p currently being sold, but that can wake up. We drop 20 points in a couple weeks or something like that. But yeah, so I don't see anything major on my end, so it makes it a little tricky to
Definitely.
pick some levels. But I'll take a stab at it.
I've noticed on the news, during I always have it on in the background for sure, and then a couple shows I watch religiously. It's been the Nasdaq and the Dow Industrial all time highs. Every day.
Yeah,
That's the news. Another high for those two, where SPY's kind of been quiet, and I think we just continue that. Um, although Friday it hit an all time high, so um, inside the zone. I'm still inside the zone. It's kind of a, I don't know, wherever you want to call the top end of like 85. That's kind of the zone currently. So building there would be cool for a few weeks because we could trust it. But I'm with you. Real hard to read. 604.12. I think we do maybe get a little pre-market push and then fade out. Um,
yeah.
and then 594.21. So about $10 range, but really 600 pivot, kind of my feel. 598, 600 pivot this week.
I got a 596.45 and 604.20. So we're actually, our top's just about the same.
Yeah, and then you're tighter than me again, which was the case
Yeah.
last week, and please, I hope so. Um, I don't know if we said it last week, but I know I said it the week before. There's just better stuff to trade than if you're a SPY trader. There's way better stuff to trade.
Yeah. I mean, even the Qs are better.
Yeah,
Even if you just got to do an index, that would be the one.
there's this
You're
one,
talking,
the RETL. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but man, that
yeah.
one's good. Channel complete.
um, Seems like Black Friday was pretty good. So I'm interested what's going to happen there. I mean, Macy's kind of threw a wet blanket on that. I mean, for my
Coles.
plans for them, uh,
Coles.
didn't like implode or anything, but
No, they're
you
still
know,
hanging out.
yeah,
I've got a lot of, I don't know if it's just my news out here or what, but a lot of FUD on the fake prices. Like
mm, yeah,
they marked it up to mark it down.
right.
A lot of FUD there, and then the same with the airlines missing flights this week. So I'm kind of interested in those two
That's been going
sectors.
on forever, though, right? I mean, I don't know. My
Yeah,
wife works
yeah,
retail, and they
yeah.
jack the price and then discount it, Macy's and all them. Yeah,
Yeah. So no, I'm interested in any kind of pullback in those names because, um, yeah, I mean, I think the worst is over for retail at this point. I mean, we went through like you could only have 20 people in your store. Then we didn't have no products to sell, and like then we went through mass inflation, and if these stores are still making it, I mean,
well, right. Well, you want to talk about? I will mention one specific stock, Ulta. Well,
sure,
I bought
sure.
Ulta, like, and Warren Buffett even cleared out and abandoned me, but I kept up with the uncomfortable buys on it, and from the 340s, and it's pushing 390 now into earnings. So my pivot's 408. It's my lowest pivot on it, so that's definitely within reach at this point. But yeah, and then another one, Elf short report came out from some nobody, and like 108, 130 again. So yeah, there's a lot to like there, and I think I mean there was a moment where if you to look at my basket of these retail stocks, all I owned was Build-A-Bear. That was the only one I
Yeah,
owned for
yeah.
a long time.
You
And
didn't have
then they
Walmart. You
got
didn't have Walmart with that.
well, Target. I had Target.
Okay.
I was thinking more of the mall, but yeah, yeah. So
I mean, if you
now,
don't believe all stores are going to be Walmart, then some of these are lagging.
yeah, right, right.
um, yeah, no, 100%. Giving away too much here.
Yeah,
You ready to get to work?
yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Perfect. Like and subscribe somewhere.